play.
Emma Raducanu has given an interview with the BBC where she's outlined her plans to return from injury, when that will be. She's also explained what she's been up to whilst away, and she's been watching much tennis. She's also got an answer for the critics, of which some are on social media, but also, of course, many within the media. And she's also explained which is the slam that she would most like to win. What is her ultimate dream in tennis? So as I say, the interview was given to BBC London earlier on today, where she outlined her plans to return to next season, and also how she would one day love to win Wimbledon. So she will make her return to tennis next season after struggling with injuries mainly since May. She obviously had injuries since then, but she hasn't played since May. She withdrew from the Madrid Open, I think on the eve of the tournament, to basically have some operations. She's missed 3 of the 4 Grand Slams. She did play in Australia, where she lost to Coco Gauff. And of course, just a couple of days ago, she dropped out of the world's top 200 and did confirm in this interview with BBC London that she will not be returning to the tour until next year. Britain didn't make the Billie Jean King Cup finals, which will take place in Seville in the south of Spain in November. Also, she has no hope of making the WTA finals, also in November. So she confirmed that next season will be her return to tennis. 20-year-old also said that the slams are obviously finished now, but it has been difficult to watch them go by. She was just said, "I want to stay in my lane as much as possible and keep focused on my recovery," were her exact words. The 20-year-old has been hampered though by injuries since winning that US Open title in 2021, when remarkably she managed to qualify and go all the way to the title without dropping a set in New York. She also made British #1 at one point as a result, but has not gone beyond the second round of any Grand Slam since that mesmeric, incredible run 2 years ago, when she became the first British woman in 44 years to win a major singles title since Virginia Wade. She was also asked about how she deals with criticism, and Raducanu had this to say: "The fact they are still talking about me, even though I'm not at these events, is just a compliment. Someone told me once, for example, 'Worry when they're not talking about you,'" she added. Raducanu has, of course, returned to the practice court. We did see some glimpses of her playing some short tennis in August, for example, the first time since she underwent surgery earlier on this year. And in fact, she only did play 10 matches in the first 5 months of the year. She said she does hope to return to better form and fulfill her Wimbledon dreams. "Wimbledon is the dream," she said, "and always has been growing up." Of course, she's from the UK, so it makes sense. She said, "It's the ultimate dream to win Wimbledon." Back in May, she seemed to undergo 3 successful surgeries. She said that she underwent the surgeries on both of her wrists and her ankle in a letter posted on social media. In fact, she said at the time, "It's safe to say the last 10 months, so that would have been the summer of 2022 until these surgeries in May of this year, have been difficult as I dealt with a recurring injury on a bone of both hands," she said at the time. She said she tried to manage the pain and play through it for most of the year, but in the end it was just getting too much. She was missing so much of training as well as certain tournaments anyway, that for her it made sense to go ahead with these procedures. Well, now she has confirmed that she'll be back. I would imagine, therefore, for the Australian swing, maybe United Cup, end of December, beginning of January, perhaps, for the 250 in New Zealand or elsewhere. And then, of course, the Australian Open. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. There are with the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, um, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can, and actually probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly you're 5-all and it's tight again, and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think the best players in the world just use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them.
Yeah.
So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know whether what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than that I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah.
And first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players, the other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is, I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing,
mm-hmm.
but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second every lap, like in this unbelievable groove.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it. It's like no hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time, If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you. And that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, helps with ranking and why certain players, are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. It definitely does. There are the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like. The two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty. Okay, and you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for, an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again, and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them.
Yeah.
So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what whether that what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than that I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now, to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah.
And first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players. The other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is, I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing, but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second every lap, like in this unbelievable groove. But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it, right? No hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you. And that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, helps with ranking and why certain players, are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. It definitely does. With the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty. Okay, and you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for, an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them.
Yeah.
So, for us sitting there, you know, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You know, you're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know what you know, whether what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and you know, they slipped through his hands. Now, you know, to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah.
And you know, first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through with a decision like that. You know, but then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players, the other thing is, you know, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, you know, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is,
yeah,
you know, I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing,
mm-hmm.
but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second every lap, like in this unbelievable groove.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it. It's like no hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then, you know, they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but, you know, especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. It's, you know, everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you. And that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, you know, helps with ranking and why certain players, you know, are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. You know, it definitely does. There were with the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, you know, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, you know, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You know, you just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about, you know,
Oh, sorry. Jeez, I didn't even know that I was on the stream there. I was too busy listening to you guys. Sorry, that was a terrible start. What's happening, Matt? How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes. Did John just finish mid-sentence there, or was that just my stream?
No, it was the same for me. It just sort of cut off mid-sentence.
Right, okay. Phew, okay, you're saving my bacon there. I appreciate that. Well, it seems like I've missed quite an eventful start to this match. Have you been watching along, and what's been going on?
Yeah, I have. I feel like it's been, obviously it's a bagel set, but I feel like it's a little bit harsh on Noskova. Personally, a lot of the games have been quite close. There's been break points either way, but it's been impressive from Emma in the important points.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I mean, apologies for missing the first set. It seems like it might be a quick stream. But anyway, yes, I am Tom. It's a difficult place to meet somebody for the first time when there's usually hundreds of people watching you do so. But yeah, this is the first time. Hi Jake, hi Sean. This is the first time I've met you, Matt.
Yep.
I've been doing the stream for about a year. Made some friends along the way, so I'm sure you will too. But yeah, Emma Raducanu, that's who we're here to watch along. And yeah, I mean, I watched her match against Kerber, and saw quite a lot written about Raducanu over the last 24 hours, particularly on social media. Really talking about this is her really hard time now. The injuries are out the way. She's finding a bit of form. I think there was a lot of talk about, she's never been the full true player that she can for the potential. For some reason, I've noticed over the last, say, 12, 24 hours that a lot of people are talking her up again. And that those voices are not going to go away after that first set.
No, and I think it's kind of because of her success in the US Open in 2021. I feel like she can't win either way. If she loses, she's like a one-hit wonder. If she wins, then she's going to win another Grand Slam. And I feel like there needs to be a middle ground and just kind of let her build back up, because it's not as simple as just winning the Grand Slam again.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it'll be baby steps, but another title would, or at least a semi-final or a final, would certainly get people believing again in the Raducanu project, I suppose. But an extraordinary tennis player who did extraordinary things. So what I usually do is just find out exactly where you are at your stream, if that makes sense, just so that we know that we were maybe commentating or chatting about the same point. Now, I've got Raducanu. I think maybe in Noskova has she taken a break or a timeout in between? Oh no, it's the balls. I think Raducanu is wanting new balls, or it's maybe the last game before new balls. Anyway, Raducanu is discussing tennis balls to the umpire. So I don't know, whereabouts are you on your stream?
See, she's kind of at the back of the court with her towel. So I think maybe I'm slightly ahead. I don't know, or because she's just going line now.
Yeah, Noskova's now coming out. So she did take a break, and Raducanu was. There was nothing to do with the balls, I suppose. So you were saying in Noskova, she was particularly unlucky to be bageled there. Not something you usually hear when somebody's not won a game. Have had their serve broken 3 times. Where is it Raducanu is just dominating in this? Is it the power? Is it just Noskova maybe looking a bit off her game at the moment? What's been happening out there?
I think the decisive points, Raducanu just seems to step up. I suppose she's got that sort of big game mentality, and especially on the serve, her serve has been very strong on the big points. I think 3 aces so far in this match. It was the same over the weekend at the Billie Jean King Cup. She really used her serve to keep herself in the match. And I think Noskova has hit quite a few unforced errors on the big points. So it's kind of the big points are being won by Raducanu.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Well, yeah, I mean, long may it continue. I've just watched Raducanu put away a backhand winner. So, it'll be interesting to find out. Sorry.
I think you're slightly ahead of me, so I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. Yeah, so Raducanu just put our first serve at 15 love up into the net. So just reloading and going for a second serve at the moment in time. Yeah, it's a busy week, this one, isn't it? I mean, there's no 1000. There's a lot of events though, 500s, 250s. It's been hard to keep on top of it. You've been watching any tennis so far today?
I haven't watched a great deal today other than this match, but I've kind of been keeping on top of the scores, keeping an eye on it. Obviously, there's Barcelona, Stuttgart, then there's the 250s in Munich, Bucharest, and Rouen. I think there's been a lot of bad weather in Munich and Bucharest, so that's kind of halted a lot of play there. I think there was even snow in Munich earlier today.
Oh, right, okay.
It's never ideal for a tennis tournament.
No, and snow in April. Sounds like Scotland. Like we are, honestly, went out and walked the dog about 5 o'clock and was like, "This is like a storm out here." It was freezing. I had the big Parker jacket on, and it's what, the 18th of April. And Munich, I'm actually going to be in Munich in less than 2 months' time for the Euros. So
hopefully it's not snowing then.
Hopefully it's not snowing, because a lot of us Scots we'll be used to it because we've got snow all the time. Whereabouts are you talking to me from, Matt?
I'm Coventry is where I'm from.
All right, brilliant. I've actually been to Coventry, believe it or not.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm not gonna lie. At the time I was there, 5-6 years ago? No, 2016. So that was nearly 10 years ago. There was like 2 pubs.
Really?
And I was there for a business trip. And then as you do, you go to the pub afterwards, and then me and a friend were looking for a pub, and is there one called the Phoenix? Does that ring any bell?
Yeah.
There we go. And then we went into the pub, and I had to split up a fight. And this was on a Thursday night in the middle of December. So fun times in Coventry. Yeah.
That's about right.
Yeah. But I've not managed to watch much tennis today in terms of the results because I've been working full time as well. So I was catching up on a few. I seen, is Arthur Fils absolutely rolling over Alex de Minaur?
See, I've missed that. I've really missed the scores over the last hour or so because I've been watching this and doing bits and bobs, but I've seen more of the scores earlier on in the day.
Well, I think it's actually on. In fact, it's just finished. Alex de Minaur, of course, conqueror of Rafa Nadal yesterday, but Arthur Fils, who has had a bit of a indifferent time of it in terms of his form. But the number 16 seed beats the 4th seed Alex de Minaur 7-5, 6-2 in 1 hour 36. Really good result for Arthur Fils. Maybe this could be the start of him actually turning up at events, because I think it was a semi-final in Chile, but other than that, he's had a rough time of it.
Yeah, it's kind of surprised me that, because de Minaur is very consistent. He seems to be finding his feet on the clay, but it opens the draw a lot because Fils has now got Lajovic, so it's a good opportunity for both of them. Yeah,
good point. Very good point. So elsewhere, Cam Norrie beat Batista Agut 6-4, 6-3 in Barcelona. Tomasic Everi came from a set down against Brandon Nakashima to win it 3-6, 7-6, 6-4. Like you say, Lajovic won. I mean, Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, again, another player who is really struggling at the moment. I really liked him last year. I thought he could, trouble the bigger players. I remember that famous point at Wimbledon against Holger Rune where he underarm served it 8-all in the 5th set breaker. So interesting guy. Saves cats and dogs. Always a fact that I like to pull out in these streams is he has a cat and dog shelter. What's going on with the Spaniard?
I find him a really difficult player to predict. I think there's a few players that if you see him in a draw, you just got absolutely no idea where they're going to end up, because he could be in the final, but he also could lose first round. And I think he's not been in particularly great form. I think he pulled out of Monte Carlo? I can't remember, but he's not particularly done great recently. No, he didn't pull out of Monte Carlo. He lost very heavily to Korda. He won only 3 games against Korda last week, and then beat Mahat. No, he got a walkover.
This week. Mahat, that was what happened. Yep, you're right.
So he's actually not won a match in Barcelona.
Well, yeah, I mean, tough loss there.
Yeah.
For Davidovich Fekina, he was the 11th seed, of course, home event for him. So
Yeah.
he'll need to go and reset. He does usually like the clay courts. So we were hoping to kind of try and rejig a few things for the French. Sticking with Barcelona, Matteo Arnaldi, he came through 6-3-6 love against Marco Tringalletti, a qualifier. Casper Ruud got revenge on Jordan Thompson for his defeat earlier in the year. He beat him 6-1, 6-4. Casper Ruud playing well, of course, beating Djokovic last week and then falling to Tsitsipas, who also went through against Carballes Buena. And the match that I was actually really interested, if I could find time in my day today, Matt, was the Fabian Marchand Diaz Acosta match. I thought that one was going to be an interesting one, and so it proved. Marchand taking the first set, but then Diaz Acosta winning 6-3, 6-1. Good result for the wild card against the 17th seed. He's another player that you keep an eye on. He did well in the South American swing. And so, yeah, Diaz Acosta, one that maybe many don't think can do something at the French.
Yeah, I think he might go under the radar. Obviously, he won the title in Buenos Aires. Argentinians are known for their clay court game, and I think he might be another one who could just is not the sort of person. Obviously, his ranking, he won't be a seed realistically. He's not the sort of person that a player would want to draw in the first round. It's an awkward draw, especially for someone who isn't particularly a good clay court player. For example, Bublik, he may be seeded, but he's not comfortable on clay at all.
No. And just to update on the match then, and we have breaking news. Linda Noskova has actually won a game at the 8th time of trying. So it remains 1-1 in the second set, but 6-love. Raducanu took the first set. So, yeah, Noskova, she'll hope to try and hang in there, get over this kind of period where Raducanu dominates the points and wins the majority of the points, and figure out how to get back into this match. That's how you overcome a bagel. Sticking with, I mentioned Arthur Feast there, but who actually overcame Arthur Feast, much to the shock, got his first ATP win against Arthur Feast, was João Fonseca in Rio. He also won today in Bucharest, 7-6, 6-2, won the first in a tiebreak. My favourite player at the moment, Matt, Corentin Moutet, just because how he likes to wind up the crowd. I found a newfound love for the Frenchman. But he beat Nuno Borges in Bucharest as well. So good result for Moutet. But Borges, of course, was the victim of a honking, as we say up here in Scotland, a honking call in Estoril. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I did. It was ridiculous. I don't know how they decided that was the right outcome to come to, but umpires sometimes umpire.
Yeah, definitely. So then, Matt, tell me a little bit about your tennis background in terms of, this is the point where you might split the people on the community, the talking tennis community. They all seem to hover towards whoever likes the same manner girl or as they do. But yeah, what's your tennis background? Did you when did you fall in love with it? When did you start following it as a sport? Who's your favorite player? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I've always I've always liked tennis because I played it like as a child, kind of just like for fun, like once or twice a week, and then I was kind of that classic, like I'd watch the Grand Slams kind of tennis fan, and then for some reason 2021 I decided to watch I watched quite a lot of Wimbledon that year, like as always, and then I watched Raducanu from the second round all the way to the final. Obviously I didn't think she'd win it, but that's just the way it happened, and I just think from that point I just started following all the tour events and just became obsessed with it. And I think even to the point now where I'll just go on like the score apps and check random ITFs for no apparent reason.
Amazing. And so are you more for a WTA or ATP, or do you not mind? Like, where does your your preference?
I would say like I'm very like mixed. I watch both, but I would say if I was going to choose, I'm more likely to watch a WTA match, and I think that's probably because I think I just like there's like so many players that I feel like can win most weeks. There's some events where, for example, like Roland Garros, I think Swiatek is like
dominant,
head and shoulders above the rest at the moment.
Yeah.
Like I just like the fact that there's so many contenders. Like the rankings really don't tell a lot of the story. The fact that like there's a very good chance that seeds will go out early. I just like the sort of
the drama, the unscripted drama, as you say,
the unpredictability of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not alone here in the talking tennis community. Plenty of people who follow the stream from a punter point of view, for lack of a better term, prefer the WTA. And Nick, he one of the commentators, he hosts WTA Weekly, so I'm sure he will get you on that at some point to offer your thoughts and predictions for the week past and the week ahead. Just to update you on what's happening, as you can see by the scoreboard, Raducanu did sail through the next service game after not winning game 8. But Noskova looking a bit better now. 2 good serves. She's 30 love up in this game. The 15 love was brought about by a lovely drop shot, which Raducanu didn't even attempt to try and get. And then a big serve there by Noskova. And again, another big serve and a +1 winner. Noskova showing why she has risen to, I think, 31 maybe in the world off the top of my head. Is that what, am I right?
Yeah.
What a guess. Noskova, she's taken out some big names over the course of the 2024 season. Hopefully we get a match here, and we're not away from the tennis too. So she tries another drop shot. Raducanu reads this one, a strong forehand allows her to win that point. As always, anybody watching, listening, wherever you are, drop a comment into the chat. Some people, Matt, what I do offer is, some people might not have any other way of keeping up to date with what's going on in the match. So I will commentate on the points for them. Some people are watching it with us. Some people are here just for the random blether that we might get. Announcement. You were talking about tennis. I'm going to make an announcement. I myself, I played tennis when I was a lot younger, till about 14, 15, and then, played a lot of football. But over the last 2 weeks, I've been getting the bug to actually, as opposed to watching it all the time, is to actually get back out on court. So I signed up today for to go on Monday night to a local tennis club, join the group as somebody who's not played in 20 odd years. Looking forward to that. Anyone, and this is to you, Matt, and to the community, I'm going to go and buy a racket though over the weekend. So any suggestions for my, I don't want to say first tennis racket because I've had tennis rackets in the past, but my first adult tennis racket would probably be the best description of it. So anyone got any tips? Probably looking under £100, probably not even as high as that. But if you've got any tips or advice as to what racket to pick up for the first time in 25 to 30 years, then give me a shout. Any suggestions off the top of your head?
I'll be honest, my racket knowledge is weak. I kind of just think, oh, that looks nice, I'll have that one, obviously, and then I look at the price and think, oh, put that one back, I'll get the other one that's half the price.
I'll drop John a text later. Him and Damien, I've been having recent battles on the tennis court. I know, like, grip size and weight are probably the most important, as Sean is saying. I think I'm going to go for quite a heavy racket. I want to have all the control, as opposed to the power. I want to outwit my opponent is my game plan. So my stream has just stopped for a minute. So what's happening where you are? It's my phone, I think. Oh no, it's not. It's my app. How are we getting on the tennis at the moment, Matt?
Yeah, so it's Raducanu still. The kind of this set's a lot different. Whereas the first set, there's a lot of close games. This set, they kind of seem to be sailing through their service games, which I suppose in some ways is good because we're having a closer match in the sense of the games are being won by the server. But it'll be interesting to see who really takes hold when an opportunity does come, or it might go to a tiebreak, I suppose.
Yeah, I might just take the one break, and I can see I've got my stream back up and running, and Raducanu is and now it stopped again. She has taken the hold, and she's walking off court. I saw Raducanu speaking before about Noskova and Noskova's power, and saying she doesn't expect a lot of rallies in this match because of the power that both her and her opponent held. Is that the way it's been? Has it been short, sharp points, dominated by, obviously not the server in the first set?
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't say there's been that many winners. I would say more errors than winners. I would probably more from the racket of Noskova, obviously, from the first set. But yeah, it hasn't been particularly long rallies. Whereas yesterday with Kerber, there were longer rallies because Kerber's not as, as a hard hitter. She's more of a, I don't want to say pusher, but that kind of vibe of tennis player.
Yeah, no, I get it. What does Emma Raducanu, there is doubters still out there for Raducanu, and probably not justified, but given what she achieved, in her first, I was actually listening to a podcast the other day, and I'm sure it was talking about, like, I know she was at Wimbledon, but, in terms of outside of the UK, like, this was like a first event for Raducanu when she won. She did this extraordinary thing and winning the US Open. Like, nobody gave her a hope. First ever qualifier. What does she need to do to, because since that event, particularly the UK media, a lot of people have been like, expecting so much from Raducanu. She hasn't been able to, maintain the heights, and that's more than understandable given, again, the unexpected rise of this girl at the age and the experience that she had. Now that she's had maybe about 12 to 18 months of an injury, multiple injury, wrists, ankles. She's gone through the coaches quite a lot. There's been criticism of, I think, her dad being interfering as well, being quite single-minded and being interfering. I just wondered, does she need a title just to kind of, actually, get those doubters and at bay a little bit? Because after she won the US Open, she rose, I think maybe 10 or 11 in the world, was getting all these, buys into second rounds of events and then not going very far. And then the injuries hit. So I just wondered, from your point of view, I know you said that you kind of really got into tennis by watching Emma. So I assume you follow her quite closely. She's probably one of your favourite players. What does she need to do to, kind of get those doubters to come back on side for her?
Yeah, I think with the doubters, I kind of think she just needs to just let them go, because I think some people are just always going to want to criticise whatever. And I think with time, she probably has realised that, like, the only expectation she needs to have is from herself and from those, like, actually close around her. And I think a title would be good. I don't think it would be silly to drop down to maybe 250.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, I don't think she'll do a 250 in the clay court season now, but I think maybe a Nottingham or a Birmingham on the grass, I think that'd be perfect for her to play.
Well, you never know. You never know. Don't count her out of this event now, because she's looking strong, winning the first set 6-love. She's I was about to say she's on a Noskova second serve at 30-all. It was a short second serve. It was bouncy. It was high, but Raducanu had time there, and she'll be disappointed with that backhand because she drilled it right into the net. So a missed opportunity for the Brit, and Noskova serves a first serve in. Good return by Raducanu, right at the feet and then on the line of Noskova. The players are rallying now, forehand to forehand, up the court, middle of the court. Raducanu goes juice to juice and hits the top of the net and goes over, gets lucky. So she is at juice here. Looking good, looking strong, not being, not letting the level drop, as easy to do when you are so comfortable in the first set. And you often see it in tennis, don't you? Especially maybe the WTA, where somebody will dominate the first set and then it just kind of flips in its head a little bit because maybe you don't take your opponent seriously. But she has been maintaining that level, although she is game point down now, because Noskova has hit a big serve, which Raducanu could not find the court with a block lob. So you think that she needs to kind of bide her time. There is no rush for Raducanu right now to win an event.
And I think especially now, because this event was the last tournament she played last year before her injury, therefore, like, her ranking's only going to go up now because she can't drop any more points this year.
Yeah.
I think the only reason I didn't think I'm a bit worried about this tournament in terms of winning it is because she's got Swiatek in the next round, and Swiatek is on clay is like another beast, and like especially because she's won the tournament the last 2 years, I think it'll be a step too high at the moment.
Where does this might sound an obvious question, and we're still some time out yet, but where does Raducanu's hopes of Wimbledon go at the moment? What's her expectations of Wimbledon? What would be a good Wimbledon for Emma Raducanu? Now, I know that Emma Raducanu would say a good Wimbledon for me would be winning the event. She's probably that competitive mindset. But yeah, for in the real world, given the play, I mean, I say in the real world, you look at Vondrousova, who won it last year. A lot of the big names fell. I'd say Sabalenka would probably be the favourite because Swiatek's record on grass isn't great. Ons Jabeur will probably be back, hoping to relinquish some demons, shall we say. So there is good grass court ladies out there, but what's a good event for Raducanu? If we skip the French for now.
Yeah, I think, like, obviously because of her rankings, she won't be seeded, and therefore the draw is very dependent on this. But I think just ignoring the draw, maybe second week, she's done it before, and I don't see why with a decent draw why she couldn't do the second week, because the thing is the British players do play have an advantage on grass because it is quite a niche surface, and a lot of players haven't played on it like a regular basis anyway.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair retort in terms of I think second week's got to be the aim, and then anything else there is a bonus. And you never know. I suppose I was just trying to think when you said that, if she won the French, which I'm sure she would be seeded, which
I'd imagine so, yeah. But so there's always hope.
Yeah,
I mean, in fairness, for someone who hasn't played a lot on clay at a senior level, she does seem very comfortable. Did very well over the weekend at the Billie Jean King Cup, and again in Stuttgart seems to be pretty comfortable. I mean, it is different on the indoor courts to the outdoor, but I don't see why she couldn't transition to the outdoor.
Well, she's again relatively comfortable here in Game 7 of the second set, 40-15. Just looking the more comfortable player on the ball than Noskova, and so I think it can get a little bit a bit sticky for Raducanu if she doesn't take this set, because she has been so dominant, and it's almost that kind of negative thought, thinking, I can't lose this match after wriggling in the first set. Okay, elsewhere in Stuttgart, I did catch the very end of Iga Swiatek, fairly comfortable, it looks like, against Elise Mertens. Ons Jabeur, I just mentioned, Paulini had beat her 7-6, 6-4. Jabeur is really struggling a bit for, there's two people I've just mentioned. Jabeur struggling a bit for form, but we wait and see what goes next for her. Vondrousova, don't think I've said her name in a while. Of course, Wimbledon champ. She won 7-6, 6-1. And Raducanu won today. She was a 6-1 down in the second set, but managed to win at 6-4. Again, I caught the end of that one. I take it all by all intents and purposes. Swiatek going for number 3 in Stuttgart, 3 in a row. She's got to be the overwhelming favourite here, isn't she?
Yeah, I would say her and Sabalenka. I mean, they've been the last 2 years finals have been Swiatek, Sabalenka. Sabalenka's been in the final the last 3 years and has lost every one. I think, especially with the added bonus of having the Porsche car, Sabalenka will really want to win this year. She won't want to see Swiatek taking that car home again. Because I think that is the thing, is like it's nice for the prize money and points, but it's nice to have that added bonus. It's what makes this tournament special, having them like by the side of the court.
Do you think that's what it's like? It's like Sabalenka's just sitting there curbside with her tennis rackets, and she just sees Iga driving by, waving out the window, like, see ya. I wonder if that's Yeah, that would be tough. Yeah, because I mean, there's 3 cars. So I think is that the doubles winners? No, is there doubles? I don't know who gets the.
I don't know if the double. I doubt that. I mean, I could be wrong. They probably should get a car, but I would be surprised if the doubles winners also get a car.
Let us know, anybody who does know out there. There's nearly 100 of you guys on the stream. So let us know why it is our 3 Porsches. I don't know who else do they go to. Does the winners whole team coaches get one each? I don't know. Now Raducanu, obviously 4-3, and as you can see by the scoreboard, she's managed to put a little bit of pressure here. It's love 30. It's been unforced errors. The unforced errors count by Noskova 21. It really tells its own story as to why you would be bageled in the first set. Poor return this time by Raducanu. She got to that serve in plenty of time, but it is 15-30. Sean, thank you for the suggestions. I am going to make a mental note. Yonex, Wilson, and Head. I did think about a Head one. So yeah, I appreciate that. I was thinking about maybe just doing it through eBay, but again, I've not been on the hunt for a tennis racket in so long. I don't know what usually with these things, people will know, oh no, go to Vinted or go to, Gumtree, or they have suggestions to what is the best route for these type of purchases. If there's a shop here in the UK, I'm sure it might be all over the world, called Decathlon. I was just thinking about going along to one in Glasgow over the weekend on Sunday, and I will report back on how I got on. But hello, Ghost. Mark, this is Ghost, who's just onto the stream. Ghost is a regular on the channels. Nice dude, nice fella. So yeah, I'm sure you will encounter Ghost on many of your streams. So hi, Ghost, how are you doing? This is Matt. This is Matt's first stream, so please do make him welcome. 100 of you guys on the stream at the moment, and as you can see, our target is to try and get to 7,500 subscribers by the end of this stream, and all dependent whether or not Raducanu wins this point. It might be very, very soon, so please do start hitting that subscribe and like button right this very second as I watch Raducanu forehand. Good change of direction by Noskova. She's now taken over the point. Noskova, backhand by Raducanu. It's a strong backhand. The backhand by Noskova. The whole court for Raducanu. She comes into the net and she doesn't get a volley. A missed opportunity by Raducanu. Could that be a turning point? She had break point. She actually puts her hand around her mouth in shock that she didn't put that away. She was on top of the point. Noskova did like a chipped down the line return, and Raducanu couldn't put away the volley, and she is angry at herself. Might have been going out. That could be important. John, you and I are thinking the same things. Is this a momentum changer? How often do we see this in tennis matches? And Matt, I will give you some airtime because Ghost is asking you, where are you from? So can you tell us all again whereabouts you are from?
Yes, I am from Coventry in England. I wouldn't say it's a holiday destination, but where I'm from, it's got 2 cathedrals.
What else is there anything else it's famous for?
It's got an all right football team.
It's got. I mean, they're playing in the semi-final soon, aren't they?
Yes, I'll be on Sunday. I'll be going to Wembley.
Is it this Sunday? Oh my! Because Mr. Silk here, I don't know if he's like the cat out the bag is the words I'm looking for, but he's actually a Man United fan. So
interesting.
So yeah, you might not be on our stream again if your lads do his lads. So there we go. Hello, John. Yes, so Coventry fan, and a town or city town twinned with Hamburg apparently. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. But you lads that do every day.
You do. Also, interestingly enough, Hamburg has got the biggest red light district in the whole of Europe. So there you go. Not something you even thought you would hear on a tennis stream, but yeah, I heard that at a pub quiz one time. Not that I've been there or anything. Anyway, back to the tennis. Noskova has managed to turn around this game. She's got game point, and this would be a big moment here if she can, fight back from that break point. A break point that was all in Emma Raducanu's hands. Although a double fault has just been made by Noskova, so we're back to deuce. As I said, John, pub quiz knowledge, because most people say Amsterdam.
That'd be my first guess.
Exactly. So there we go. Again, backing me up there, Matt. I appreciate that.
Anytime.
Ghost, when I'm looking for red light district news, I turn to Tom for the latest. It was a pub quiz. Okay, so where are we at? Raducanu's arguing with the umpire. Not sure what happened there. We were too busy talking about red light districts. But as you do. But I wonder if she's pointing at a line, is she? So I don't think if maybe she didn't think the Noskova serve was in. It was a block return that went long, I think, from Raducanu. And I think she's arguing that it was maybe a challenge, or the umpire should maybe check the mark. I think the umpire saying, well, you played the shot. So anyway, it's game point. Yeah, and Raducanu goes long with the return on that occasion. So Noskova levels up the set 4-all, and yes, so we are back to also we had big moments in this second set. I think once we saw that first set, I thought, we're not going to be on this stream very long, but it's been enjoyable. We're enjoying the second set. Where do you see this one going now? Is Raducanu in danger of a total momentum shift?
There's a lot of pressure on her to hold now, because when you've had break points, and especially break points that would have given you the opportunity to serve for the match.
Well, it's break point, and it's the fact that she had the whole court to pick from, and she played a poor volley. So,
I think it might have been going out as well. I'm not convinced she needed to hit it, but it's a tricky one in the moment.
Yeah, we wait and watch. Although she has started this game with a good serve and the net ball by Noskova. Yeah, 13 to go. So come on, get phone up your nan, phone up your neighbour, knock your next door neighbour, get the dog involved, get my YouTube account, and get following Talking Tennis. We've got 13 to go to get to 7,500 subscribers. Let's keep on following. We've got plenty of events coming up, and plenty of, I'm sure, people going to be attending the events and getting exclusive content. Of course, producer John is actually in Stuttgart at the moment in time. So he'll be getting interviews there. He can also, if he is still listening, let us know who else is elsewhere in the world coming up. I've been chatting to him about potentially going to a few events in the late summer, autumn. I'm hoping to somehow try and see if I can go to Cincinnati in August. That would be good. If you've got an event out there, and you can pick either ATP or WTA, I know you prefer the WTA, Matt, but is there an event on the tennis calendar that you think, and you're not allowed to pick the Grand Slams, all right? That's the rule, because you'll just pick Wimbledon. But is there an event that you've got in the bucket list that you want to get to?
I think it's hard not to go for something like Indian Wells or the Monte Carlo Masters. Like, just the scenery looks incredible. I suppose, or you've got like the Geneva. So actually, a lot of the events I've chosen are ATP.
Yeah,
I suppose this. But Geneva looks always quite nice. I think anyway, just that looks like a nice place.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a little distracted there. Ghost, how do you know the word Ned? I am gobsmacked at that. Ned, Matt, by the way, is like chav. Now, I think I might have maybe said this in a stream before. But well done, Ghost. If I've said this in a stream and he's remembered that. But yeah, Ned is what we call the young team up here in Glasgow. So yeah, well done, Ghost. And do you know what? If you want to, talk about the gentleman, I'm like a young Matthew McConaughey in some people's eyes, my mum's. But yeah, so right. So Raducanu holds serve 5-4. Big moment up coming. She knows that she's missed an opportunity 10-15 minutes ago, and she'll be gunning to make the break now and just get off the court as quickly as possible, and get ourselves into a quarter final. Who is it she will face? Oh, it's Swiatek. Right, okay. So I'm talking about potentially winning this. Yeah. Unaware she's facing the two-time champion.
That's what was holding me back. I just can't see past Swiatek on clay or on any surface really, but especially clay.
Yeah,
because they did actually play in the quarterfinal stage at this tournament. I think 2022. It was 6-4, 6-4. So a close straight sets match, but I could see it being similar if Raducanu was to come through this.
Yeah, I mean, I think Raducanu. We don't really know what level, what ceiling is there for Raducanu because of the unexpected nature of the US Open win in terms of a lot of big name seeds had fallen before they crossed paths with Raducanu. At the same time, again, then she'd been plagued by the injuries and a bit of pressure, and so yeah, we don't really know the ceiling. But when she's on top form, can she cause problems to Iga Swiatek? Probably not at this event. We saw her playing Sabalenka earlier in the year. There were a couple of close sets. I think she took one to a tiebreak, if I'm not mistaken. I think I read somewhere that there was a lot of games that were decided by deuce, which on one of the podcasts I listened to, they were like, that's no marker for a British player to get beat. Or she had a lot of deuce games, so they were taking the pee a little bit. But yeah, let's not get her into that quarterfinal just yet because Noskova is 30 love up. So yeah, definitely playing a lot better now.
Yeah.
I see Sabalenka's playing Vondrousova in the next round. Coco Gauff will play the winner of the next match between Zheng and Kostyuk, and Rybakina will be playing Paulina. So some really good names in that quarterfinal lineup, and it would be good if Raducanu could indeed join them. Who else is going for a third event in a row, Matt? Do we know this one?
Holger Rune in Munich.
Good knowledge. I like it. Good knowledge. Yeah. Holger Rune came through today. I knew who he was playing a minute ago, and now I've lost it. Do you know who he was playing?
He beat Daniel Galan in straight sets today.
Yeah. Yes, he did. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. 6-4, 6-2. Taylor Fritz, 6-3, 6-1. Christian Garin beat Mickelson. Wow, okay. 7-6, 6-2, 6-1. Felix Auger-Aliassime beat Taro Daniel. Jan-Lennart Struff beat Van de Zandschulp. And Marc-Andrea Hussler, I've not heard that name in ages. He had a good wee run about 2 years ago. I don't know if has he been injured, Tennis World?
I think he's had some poor results, but even recently he's had some poor results. And I think he even lost to Bernard Tomic recently, which is something.
Yeah.
And because he's played Rune in the quarterfinal, I think it was Rune who he beat to win his maiden title a few years ago.
Yeah.
He's now outside the top 200, so this is quite an important week for him.
Do we know why that was, though? Was that just lack of belief, lack of form, injury? It was good to see that name, and I just hadn't seen the name in a couple of years, and I was thinking that's a name I forgot almost. So yeah, it's good to see it. Remember, guys, hit the like, subscribe. You can also become a member, where you get perks, bonus vids. And as this tennis channel grows, the content will grow, the production value will grow. One day I might have a studio I'm coming to you from or something. I don't know. But yeah, get liking, get subscribing, and get following. Raducanu strong. Yes, Jane, we did. We said Marc-Andrea Hussler was a name that I had forgotten. But he had a good win today against Yannick Hanfmann, 6-4, 6-2, 6-4. And it was good to see him back. And it was a name that had almost dissipated from my memory. So yes, hello Jane. By the way, Jane's another regular on the stream. Jake's away. Jake's to watch West Ham. He's away forever blowing bubbles. In season 2 of The Gentleman, Ned Tom gets into a verbal altercation with coach over the proper way to knife someone in Ladbrokes. That's a good storyline for a Thursday. Raducanu 15 all Noskova. Can she put pressure here on the Raducanu sale? Because I don't believe, I've not looked at the stats, Matt, but I'm assuming Raducanu hasn't faced any break points.
Not in this set, I don't think, but I think in the first set, which is kind of surprising, but she definitely faced a break point in the first game.
She did, right?
She faced breakpoints in both of her opening 2 service games, but still managed to win every single game in the set.
Okay.
So it just goes to show that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wonder if maybe the three cars are there because you get to choose which one you prefer, and the other two just go back to the Porsche dealership. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right, where are we? So 30-15 Raducanu. So the tournaments that you picked then were Geneva.
Well, I saw someone else say Bastard, and that's another good choice.
That is a good choice. Yeah, I think I know I'm going big with the Masters 1000 in Cincinnati, but it just works with the dates that I've got. And I've also got a visa to the United States to work for the next 7 years. So I thought, why not just take advantage of that rather than having to go through the getting a visa and stuff. So
definitely go big or go home. And like when you're at a big event like that, you're more likely to get better content, the bigger players, bigger storylines.
Yeah, absolutely. There'll be all the big hitters there. So yes, yeah, that's a very good point actually. So Challengers is out. Have you seen this film that's out? This new tennis movie?
No,
Zendaya.
Yeah. I wanted to go see it. I've seen the trailer obviously quite a few times. It looks interesting. I don't know how tennis based it is, but I'm intrigued to kind of see how much detail they put into the tennis side of it.
Yeah, I don't know if tennis films work for me. Like, in terms of, I can't remember watching like football films and stuff don't really work either. Like, it's very hard for them to make it look realistic. I know that Ghost has been talking about Ted Lasso, which isn't really about the football though, is it? But anyway, Raducanu holds serve after a little bit of danger. So she we didn't get invited to the premiere. John is telling us that's why Damien isn't happy. Splitting opinion, and again, you could turn some people in this community against you. Did you watch Breakpoint, Matt?
I have watched the first series. I watched a couple of episodes of the second series. I think it's not really for people who watch it on a weekly basis, and which obviously I try to, and I don't really think it captured the minds of many people personally.
Yeah. I mean, they were just telling stories that were already known for people who knew about tennis, like you say. So we were just seeing we weren't seeing anything new. I mean, I watched the first 6. I think they do 6 episodes, and then they took a break until June, and then when they came back, I just forgot about it. I was just like,
yeah. And then I scrapped it for season 3. It's not happening.
Yeah, well, because because they reduced the amount of games the amount of episodes in season 2. So, okay, we're at 6-5. Well, good call from Matt. I think he'd said earlier on that we were potentially. I think you said it 2-2, Matt, that we were heading for a tiebreak. So that might be one of the earliest tiebreak calls, unless you're doing a Hurkacz match in all time. But we've still got a wee bit to go just to confirm that. But But yeah, it's 6-5 Raducanu. Noskova serving to stay in the match, but she has been playing better, and that's a good +1 by her. She has a forehand in the middle of the court, forehand return by Raducanu. They're exchanging forehands. That one looked long, but no call. That second one is, however, long. Love 15, fist bump by Raducanu, and yes. Ghost and John, I don't know if you were on the stream earlier on. I made a big talking tennis announcement that Tom Grant is going to make his return to tennis after 25 years. Signed up to a coaching session on Monday night. So John, I'm coming for you, big man. And hopefully in the sunshine of Germany in the summer, we can go at it and see who's the victor. I'm sure I'll be the underdog. But John recently lost to Damien in Portugal when the guys were covering Estoril. John took on Damien after a lot of big talk previous, and he was beaten soundly. I think it was 6-2, 6-2. So yes, John. So I was asking I was asking for advice on what tennis racket. Aye, but I need to beat you before then I can take on Damien, the true great. So yeah, I was looking for advice, John, on an adult tennis racket for somebody who hasn't picked one up in 20 odd years. Sean earlier on was suggesting a head racket, a Yonex racket as well. So yeah, any suggestions will be taken on board. Now, a double fault by Noskova after a controversial call, and we have 2 match points for Emma Raducanu after an hour and 18 minutes. 30 minutes of those were taken up by the first set bagel, but the rest has been this second set, this competitive second set. However, Raducanu has 2 match points. Don't think we're going to get to the 7,500, Matt. Good serve by Noskova. Maybe we are. Although Raducanu again challenging the serve. She's pointing at a mark on the clay. The umpire down off the seat for the second time in as many points. And she says it's in. Raducanu, I don't think, is getting on very well with this umpire. Noskova already, I bet Noskova will serve another ace here.
It's definitely, I feel like Noskova's serve is very, it's kind of, not every point obviously, but it's
hot and cold.
Double fault.
Yeah. Hot and cold, definitely. But I mean, she can hit that tee serve pretty well, is what I've noticed. And Raducanu doesn't really have an answer for that. Raducanu stopping. Oh, bit of gamesmanship here. What's going on? Good serve out wide. Block gets into the court. Raducanu stops trying for the point. I think she's again complaining about the mark. She's pretty certain on this one. Be interesting what it'd be like actually in the arena. Okay, that one was called for. Apologies. It's hard to do this with no sound. So another chance. Second serve. Raducanu backhand right at the body, and it goes long by Noskova. It's game, set, and match. Emma Raducanu. She screams with delight. Good win this for Raducanu. She faces Iga Swiatek next. Yeah, Matt, what's your thoughts on that one?
I mean, it's a good win. I think especially to win. I think if you include the Billie Jean King Cup over the weekend, I think it's the first time she's won 4 matches back to back since the US Open. So it's impressive stuff, and especially against Noskova, who's a former junior French Open champion. Kerber in Stuttgart is always a tough proposition. So I don't know if she'll be able to do it against Swiatek, but it's got to be seen as a good week.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I was going to maybe hope to see if we could get a couple of words from John in Stuttgart, although I don't know if he is able to do so. So I'll give it a couple of minutes, and if not, we will just end the stream. Remember, guys, if you can hit the like or the subscribe button, that would be greatly appreciated. It gets us able to grow the channel and get more content for you. So get liking, get subscribing, get following wherever you're listening or watching to us: Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call that one, Twitch, YouTube. Matt, how was your debut evening? Was the butterflies coming up before when 6:50 or 6:30 was approaching?
I mean, I was a little bit nervous. Yeah, it's kind of, I've done like podcasting and stuff, but I've never done anything live before. So it's naturally I was a little bit nervous, but you've made me feel very comfortable. I've enjoyed it. It's a good second set to commentate over.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been a bit tough on you if you are, if you just raced through from Emma Raducanu. So she did you a turn. John, you're going to need to elaborate if you are looking for 5-10 minutes for us to continue, or if you were meaning you're going to do 5 or 10 minutes chat, or you'll come on in 5 or 10 minutes, whatever. We'll keep on talking for now, just until we get that back. Is there any other tennis on the world coming at the moment? Doesn't seem to be. Have you got one?
There's currently, I'm definitely going to butcher pronouncing this, but the 250 event in Rouen, the WTA 250, there's Kalinina's taking on Trevisan at the moment. But that's,
okay, that's Ghost's favourite. So
nice.
Ghost will be switching channels swiftly. So
we're in the early stages of that.
So John is telling us what Raducanu has been saying on court interview, I believe. So as she said, I knew this was coming and there's still more to come. That's good signs for Raducanu fans. Matthew Ghost is asking you, who is going to be able to stop Iga Swiatek from winning this event? I think you've already said you don't see that happening. You think she's going for 3 in a row here.
I think the only person, well, there's two actually. I think Sabalenka is the one person I think could stop her, and I would say maybe Rybakina. But I think after today, I don't know if Rybakina's got it, because I think she won quite ugly today, which is always good to win ugly from time to time. But I don't know if playing ugly is going to get you over the line against someone like Swiatek.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I'll be watching, definitely be watching this Raducanu-Swiatek match tomorrow, because I think that will be an interesting one. Raducanu is playing well, and it'll give her an idea of her level in terms of what she needs to do to get to the top of the game, because there is no doubt that Swiatek is at the very top. What else have we got tomorrow then? So let's have a look at the matches, because it's coming to the business end of all the events. So we've got Cam Norrie, Echeverry in Barcelona, the first quarter final. Arnaldi versus Casper Ruud. I'm going to go wild here and say Casper Ruud's my favourite for that event. Okay, so we can chat again on Sunday and see how close I come. But I know Tsitsipas against Diaz Acosta, but I think Tsitsipas, I know he loves the clay, but I think something's got to give sooner or later for Tsitsipas. It was a dream week. He's had a fairly decent week so far here. But yeah, I think something's going to come unstuck. I don't see him doing 2 in a row. And then Arthur Feast, Dusan Lajovic. As you said earlier on, Matt, good opportunity for one of those 2 players to reach a semi-final of a 500 event. So yeah, decent. Bucharest, they seem to be a bit behind. It might be because of weather, but they're on the
weather. Sorry.
Yeah. Right, okay. So they've got round of 16 matches still to complete. Kekmanovic versus Pedro Martinez. Martinez had a decent run recently. Sibel Wilt versus Mariano Navone. So I said that my best Italian accent, even though he's Argentinian, but that was good. Seb Korda against Barrera. Cerundolo, all Argentinian affair. Cerundolo versus Federico Coria. The FCs. Coritan Muti, my favourite player, as mentioned, against Martin Fucsovic, and João Fonseca against Tabilo. Another one which will be a tasty tie. 2 young players for representing their South American nations. Yes, I agree, Ghost. He's had a fairly decent draw so far. But yeah, I'm going to go for Casper Ruud on that one. Arthur Feast, big win over De Minaur, as we mentioned. And you said Martinez, the Mexican today. I'm so proud of Martinez. Did I? Now I'm going to say, hold on. Pedro Martinez. I don't know what he's talking about. Ghost will keep you on your toes. I'll just warn you for that, Matt. But anyway, right. Okay. Well, let's end this up. Let's wrap this up then. Let you get back to your evening. But yeah, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure. You've proven your tennis knowledge. So I appreciate you joining me, and I'm sure we will do this again very, very soon. But yeah, guys, thanks very much for this evening, and we'll just say goodnight.
Thanks for having me on. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.